Happiness, the state of being happy. Happy, feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. So I think it's clear that we as humans are not very good at defining happiness in a precise manner. And maybe that's because we aren't very good at being happy. Or maybe it's because happiness is completely different for every single one of us. The one thing we do know about happiness from these simple definitions is that it is being happy for extended periods of time.
So here I am in this greenish looking pool, just watching out the crocodiles. But no, seriously, in the last couple of years, I think we all know that there's a lot more bleak and depressed people walking around just due to COVID and extenuating circumstances. And I think to some degree we've all been more aware of happiness and our search of happiness or the pursuit of happiness. And I myself have really been looking for this happiness and like the indicators of happiness and what is responsible for happiness. And I think I may have found one or two that I believe, or one or two things that I believe are responsible for human happiness. And I thought I would share those with you today. Might have to get out the pool to do it. But
without meaning, our lives feel completely unsatisfying, which is ironic, because at the end of the day, it is us who decides what is meaningful to us or not. And so I think it is incredibly important that each and every one of us goes and thinks about this, spends some serious time contemplating what we find meaning in life, and where we find meaning in life, and from what. And if that's in deep relationships, spend some quality time with your friends, or make new friends. I think our biggest problem as humans is we dwell in our self-pity. And that might sound a bit cynical, but if you really think about it, there is some truth in it. I, for one, was stuck in a pathetic pit, to be honest, of self-pity. Until I heard this quote, I think it's by Jordan Peterson. Self-pity is a selfish emotion. And it's true. Because if you're dwelling in self-pity and wallowing in it, and you almost take a pleasure in it, I don't want to say that, but you kind of think, I don't have to do anything. And you just say, I'll never be happy. I'll never find meaning. And use that as an excuse to not do anything in this weird way. And it's selfish because instead of helping others or sharing your gifts with the world, you're just dwelling in this pathetic self-pity. And I think that's something we aren't even aware of half the time. So this pillar and the next one fall into the same category, which is love. And at the end of the day, there's no denying it. We all want to be loved. So, of course, there are other ways of finding love besides a romantic partner, through family, etc. But I think some extra love cannot hurt. And of course, the chitty chitty bang bang is a bit of a bonus. So yeah, I reckon go put on those running shoes, guys.
yeah, fun fact, I was born in a swimming pool. No jokes, it's not that weird. So the final pillar, they just need to shut up, sorry. So the final pillar is definitely children. And this is because they bring love and meaning to a person's life. And you could definitely argue that love is essential for happiness. Parents will also find immense happiness within their children's own successes and achievements. This adds just a completely different dimension to a person's life, where instead of just caring for themselves, they are caring for someone that they love deeply. And for many people, having children is something that just feels right, that feels human, it's something that they feel that they were meant to do. And that is very understandable, as we are an animal species like any other, which is made to procreate. And
Yes, I'm sitting in the middle of a road. If you don't like roads, well, tough shit. But my third point is being in nature. And I think this is something we completely overlook, especially in our modern day society. But there have been many, many studies which show that being in nature reduces stress and just helps mental health. And I think personally I find a lot of peace and almost this feeling of acceptance within nature. And that tranquility definitely leads to a contentment and
just being happy with who you are. And that is something I really think that is incredibly valuable. It's something we should be utilizing a lot more. So nature, get in it, guys, get in it. Bugger, what on earth are you doing? I was just feeling a bit bleak, so I did what any normal person would do. Something else incredibly important, if you ask me, is attitude. If you live in an attitude of gratefulness and you are aware of the people who don't have what you have, and you realize your privilege, and you sort of reflect on that almost every day, you are going to be a lot more content and satisfied with the existence you are living. And I think that is something incredibly important, which a lot of people these days don't do. I mean, the kid who's starving would say to the rich kid eating pizza every day, and playing on their PlayStation, how can you be depressed when you have all that you have? And often you find that poorer people are often more happy than rich people, and I think that's something that you definitely see in South Africa. But yeah, it's definitely an attitude thing, and I think we should all be practicing gratefulness and contentment.
We as humans are constantly thinking about the future, and maybe that's just because we evolved to be like that. Because if we didn't think about the future and think about storing food, then we would just die out. But I often find that I'm always thinking about the future and thinking, oh, I'll be happy then once I've achieved this and done that and had these experiences and met these people. But really I need to be thinking about now and really just living in the moment and just relishing those experiences. I don't know, relishing is not a good word, but just really being there and being present. And we talk about this so much in society, but I feel like we're executed so poorly. And just really being there and investing your energy in that present moment. I think it's a mental shift that we need to make and be very decisive in making that. So if you've been using your ears throughout this whole thing, and you want to take one thing away from this, if there's one thing you remember from this video, it would have to be just go and really think and reflect about what you find meaning in, and think about what makes you happy. Then go and search for that and spend time doing those things that make you happy, because at the end of the day we only live on this planet for 80 odd years if we're lucky, and that's not a lot of weeks, guys. That's not a lot of days. You might think 7 days in a week, 56 years, 52 weeks in a year, yeah. But at the end of the day, yesterday starts feeling like the day before. And before you know it, you're 80.